I am John Anfinson, Superintendent of the Mississippi National River and Recreation Area, the only unit of the National Park Service dedicated to the Mississippi River. We are here today to discuss the context and scope of an opportunity before us. Opportunities like this come around once in many generations, and the legacy of what we do with that opportunity will last many more. By closing Upper St. Anthony Falls Lock, Congress accelerated our entry into the fourth age of St. Anthony Falls. The first age was that of the natural falls. It lasted from the retreat of the glaciers some 12,000 years ago until 1847. To the Dakota Indians, the falls defined the Mississippi River. Mississippi is an Algonquian name, but to the Dakota, Mississippi River was Hahawakpa, River of the Falls. To early explorers, the natural falls was so remarkable they made it a landmark in the wilderness through their enthusiastic and at times exaggerated accounts. The second age was that of timber and flour milling, which began in 1847. During this time, the falls' water power gave birth to Minneapolis. The third age was that of commercial navigation and locks and dams. The Corps completed Lower St. Anthony Falls in 1956 and Upper St. Anthony Falls in 1963. By overcoming the falls, Minneapolis dreamed it would become a thriving port, the head of navigation. That dream ended in 2015 when the lock closed. The falls has entered a new age, one that has been emerging for the last several decades. Minneapolis now values St. Anthony for its aesthetic qualities and its power to transform the central riverfront into a place of residence and recreation, dining and learning.
When I go out and sit and watch the world go by, I'm right there on the Mississippi, so I can, every day something's happening. If the weather's good, people come out of their homes like ants come out of their anthills and head for that bridge and head for that river. People want to see and be a part of this wonderful river system.
With the closure of the upper lock, we have a chance to capture the power of St. Anthony Falls in new ways. It is our time to consider what we will make of the river at St. Anthony Falls. Few places on the whole Mississippi River can match its regional, national, and even international significance. Geologically, it is unique. St. Anthony is the only major waterfall on the entire Great River. Historically, its visitors comprise a who's who of European and American exploration. In 1680, French priest Father Louis Hennepin made the falls known to the world and renamed it after his patron saint. In 1766, English colonist Jonathan Carver recorded lots of eagles' nests at St. Anthony Falls due to all the fish trying to migrate above it. And in 1805, Zebulon Pike, the first American explorer, saw it as the defining boundary between civilization and the wilderness. Its painters include George Catlin, Henry Lewis, Albert Bierstadt, Seth Eastman, and many more. Economically, the falls created a city with no peer, west of Chicago to the Rocky Mountains and south to St. Louis. It gave birth to the saw and flour milling industries that became the leading producers of their commodities in the United States and at times in the whole world. Minneapolis would be the nation's flour milling capital for 50 years. The St. Anthony Falls area boasts two National Historic Landmarks, the Pillsbury A Mill and the Washburn A Mill. And they bookend James J. Hill's National Engineering Landmark, the Stone Arch Bridge. National landmarks are places of national significance. They represent the American narrative, our American storyline. Places of such natural power and cultural depth are the kinds of places you find the National Park Service Arrowhead, a nationally and internationally recognized symbol of America's best places and stories. So when the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers asked the Mississippi National River and Recreation Area if we would take over visitor management at the lock, I did not hesitate to say yes. The National Park Service, our Arrowhead, and our rangers can enhance the national significance of St. Anthony Falls. The public has been cut off from the west bank of St. Anthony Falls since 1854, first by the mills and then by the lock. In 1854, Minnesota was still a territory of the United States, and Minneapolis barely a hamlet. We have a chance to define a new dream for what the west side of the Mississippi River can be at the falls. Your job is to capture that opportunity in a way that respects the historic character of the lock and the surrounding area, but in a way that is worthy of this opportunity in this place. All the many plans for the St. Anthony Falls area have never really considered the possibilities offered by the lock, which is understandable. As long as the lock served navigation, it was off limits. No plans imagined what this place could be as a visitor experience in a tourism engine in the context of the whole Mississippi River. We haven't dared consider challenging St. Louis, Memphis, or New Orleans as a must-see place and experience on the Mississippi River, and it is time we did. The lock is the missing puzzle piece in all the previous planning for the St. Anthony Falls area, and I believe the National Park Service can help that missing puzzle piece fit. Like we do at Yellowstone and Glacier National Parks, at Gettysburg National Battlefield and the Statue of Liberty, and at Devil's Tower and Dinosaur National Monument. The National Park Service brings the national to this conversation like no other entity can. If we all work to capture this opportunity, St. Anthony Falls in the Mississippi National River and Recreation Area could become a visitor destination, a national park designation equal to the Arch in St. Louis or the Badlands in South Dakota. It could become a premier experience on the entire Mississippi River.